One of the participating scientists, a psychologist, presented the findings of his study. One conclusion that he has reached, which is almost indisputable, is that there seems to be a correlation between early death and also high levels of blood pressure and heart-related diseases among people. And this was a study done on men. Among men who tends to use disproportionately high number of first personal pronouns, I, me, and mine, which suggests having kind of very strong attachment to oneself, and which I thought was very interesting. And in fact, it should be the case. I have recently heard a new kind of Tibetan expression that someone has coined an expression called I, the precious one. Although it sort of sounds strange, but it is, I think if you think carefully, it is quite an interesting expression. So even the medical studies, the scientific studies suggest that there is a correlation between too much or excessive self-cherishing and physical health. Now, these are the consequences of harboring or grasping onto self-centeredness. Now, in contrast, if you shift your focus from self onto others, extend towards others, and develop more thoughts cherishing the well-being of other sentient beings, then it will have the immediate effect of kind of opening up and reaching out. In other words, cultivation of altruism really has a beneficial effect, not only from the religious Buddhist point of view in the long term of spiritual development, but even from a kind of a mundane point of view, from my own personal experience. I can tell you that when I practice altruism, when I think about a sense of caring for others, it immediately has an effect within me that makes me calmer and also more secure. We can immediately begin to see its positive effects. Similarly, when you cultivate the thought, the understanding that self is not really independently existing entity, rather, when you begin to view self in terms of dependent origination, dependent in relation to others, then although it is difficult to say that one may gain profound spiritual realization, but at least even the simple reflection on the dependent nature of reality of self and others begin to have an effect. You begin to think, that's interesting. Something interesting begins to happen within you. So you can see that even in the immediate terms, there is definitely a positive beneficial effect in reversing the two attitudes, from self-centeredness to other-centeredness, and from belief in self-existence to belief in dependent origination. There is an effect.
저다가 된 뒤에니 시월에 지든 대화 진입 대군 샌든 늘려줘. 지든 동에 진입 대군 딱든 늘려줘서 다른 거 내려셔. 엔디 domde 망도 셔도 지시고 집어랑 그 된지도 투버신기 된저버 니기니 캬버도 신수야 되셔.
So to summarize all of this discussion, I think Shantideva is very right. He says that, what more do I need to say about the virtues of cherishing the well-being of others? What more do I need to say about the negative consequences, shortcomings of self-centeredness? Just to compare the fate of ordinary sentient beings who still cling on to self-centeredness and what state they are in, and the fully enlightened beings who have reversed this attitude and have established or cultivated other-centeredness. So, there's nothing more to say. Simply compare the two. Therefore, one could say that the source of all misery in the world lies in self-centeredness, and the source of all happiness and goodness in the world lies in other-centeredness.
다 되게 가서 당신냥 봐. 다지 고도만을 삼아. 현재의 고도만을 삼아서다. 님부터 주시오.
So, these are then first the cultivation of equanimity, and then recognition of the negative consequences of self-cherishing attitude, and then recognition of the positive effects of other-centeredness.
다 당신이 없이 개시 못 되는 게 아니라 소소 클래스에 개체도 와.
Of course, exchanging and equalizing of self and others is very important, but more important is that you have to feed yourself.
Thank you.